How's it, everybody, and a warm welcome to the NFT show. Coming to you live tonight. My name is Philip Kalinko, and we're going to be looking at the last week's projects that are performing well despite the bearish conditions. Before we get into it, if NFTs excite you like they do me, and you want to learn more about the NFT space, remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you aren't already, follow me on Twitter with notifications on, and join our Discord for real-time alpha. If you're an NFT project looking for an advisor or for a project review or any business considering entering the Web3 space, email me on coldud@iafrica.com. A reminder that nothing I say is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, and you should always do your own research. With that said, let's get straight into it. All right, so looking at a bit of a market update. If we start off just looking at the stock exchange, we know that America released the CPI. They were expecting 8.8%, 8.6%, or 8.8%. It was 9.1%. And we did see the markets opened up very, very down. There has been some sort of recovery as far as the S&P 500 goes, but we can see here that, stocks are pretty much down. So the NASDAQ is a bit lower. But I must be honest, I'm quite proud of cryptocurrencies, man. They were sitting at about this level, Ethereum at about 1084, and Bitcoin about 19.7. And then the CPI numbers came out. Obviously, they were worse than expected. We saw ETH go almost immediately down to 1,000. Bitcoin went to, I think, 19,300, and they've recovered. They really bounced back quickly. So that's something I think it's really, really good. It's the first time that we've sort of depegged from the NASDAQ and from the S&P. Obviously, it's just one day, and we have to establish a trend first for that to be a fact. But yeah, very, very, very excited about this. I was expecting us to go sub 1,000 today and to stay there for a few days, but we really have bounced back nicely. We're actually up on the last 24 hours about 3%, which is really incredible. So that's looking good. If we have a look at OpenSea daily volume, we were 15 million yesterday, 15 million the day before, 17 million the day before. So we're trending between this 15, 20 million, not moving much. X2, Y2 is doing about 1.5, 2 million a day. Looks rare, similar. So still around that 20 million mark. So we're going sideways for a very long time. You can see here, this is about 3 or 4 weeks. If we have a look at what's trending at the moment, we got Cryptopunks at the leaderboard in the last 24 hours. Then we've got art blocks. Now we're seeing a lot of art projects. I'm willing to hang my hat on the hat stand and say that art is the current meta. That's really the current meta. And actually, if you just look through here, we got art blocks curated at number 2, Running Moon, which we're going to talk about, that just minted another art blocks project, already number 4, and it minted about 3 hours ago. So that's going to go to number 1 if the volume continues. We've then got Art Block Factory at number 10, another art project. We've got Ringers at number 14, and we've got Fidenzas at number 15. So honestly, I mean, if this doesn't scream that we are in a meta of art projects at the moment, nothing really will. So definitely an art meta going on, which is great to see. I mean, I think that that's really a great use case for NFTs. So the things I'm looking at with that in mind are other art projects there where the floors are not as high as these projects. Something like a Galaxy Eggs could see a pump if this meta continues, and any other art project that you've been looking at. But definitely confirmed on my side, I'm saying that art is the current meta. If we have a look, number 3, we got Bored Ape Yacht Club. Number 4, Running Moon. And number 5, Other Deeds at a floor of 2.85. Number 6, ENS Name Services, still doing really well. And we're going to actually cover them in detail tonight as well. Just give you guys a bit of background, what it is, what the benefit is, what the use case is. And we got Kumu Boss at number 7, Parallel Alpha at number 8, Mutants at number 9, Art Blocks Factory at number 10, and Nice Official at number 11. The Saudis, which we're going to talk about tonight as well, at number 12. Nina Super Cool, which is another art project actually under the Goda umbrella, a relatively new art umbrella. They whitelist minted today, and holders of the Goda minted today, whitelist tomorrow. And I imagine if that doesn't sell out, then they will move on to public the day after. But mint price is half a ETH, and they're sitting at 0.94 ETH, which is great to see. So another art project there, and then ringers and fidenzas. If we just jump onto Flips Finance to try get a bit of an overview on the last 24 hours, not going to go in detail, but what we basically want to see is green versus red on this chart to get an idea of things down or up on average. And having a look, I would say it's probably 50-50, bit of a mixed bag. Yeah, so that's good to see. Looking good on that side. If we jump onto RC Tools and just have a look at what's trending literally this second on the 5-minute candles, have a look here, and that's what's trending currently, which is always good to have open. I like keeping an eye on this. Yeah, so good to see. All right, let's get into it. This week's top performing NFTs. We're starting with a live mint analysis. It's just minted of Running Moon by Lisiahi. So this falls under the Art Blocks umbrella. It was a collection, or is a collection, of 500 NFTs. The mint price was 3 Ethereum. Dutch auction going downwards. I think they sold out at 2.75. Obviously 500 collection size. So, very impressive that they sold it at that price. And if you minted at 3 ETH, you've quickly got a 1 ETH profit. But what's incredible in the last 2 or 3 hours is they've done 1,200 Ethereum in volume, which is really, really, really impressive. And that's why we saw them number 4 on the chart, but they literally minted 3 hours ago. So I think we're on track for them to take the top spot when we look at the charts tomorrow. This is giving you an idea of the art here. You can actually see the floor is quite thin here. So 4, that takes you to 4.2, 4.45. And usually when a project mints, there are always paper hands. Nothing against paper hands. I'm sometimes a paper hand. I think we're all guilty of that. But it will be interesting to see where this settles after the paper hands are out. But if we just jump onto the analytics, you can see 275 sales. Now, that's a lot for a project with a floor price of 4 Ethereum. And you can actually see someone's just bought, it's gone up to 4.15 while we've been talking about it. But almost 300 sales at 4 Ethereum is no joke. And you can see here the floor actually is a little bit behind because they're selling at 4.3 at the moment. Here's that one we saw at 4, so it hasn't yet updated on OpenSea. And then obviously the rarer ones are starting to go as well. And that's always bullish to see when straight away you're seeing the rarer ones going at like double floor price or close to there. So really, really an interesting project. I just thought, since it just minted, a great opportunity for us just to look at it a little bit together. So if we jump onto the Art Blocks websites. And for those of you that don't know, so Artblocks is a very OG sort of art launch pad for artists. So let's say you're an artist, you want to get into the NFT space, and you want a company or an organization or an umbrella, a project that knows how to sort out the mints and do everything for you, that all you really need to worry about is the art. Artblocks is the leaders in that. They launch a lot of projects under different artists. They do the marketing for them. They handle the smart contract. They do everything that they need to do so that you don't have to worry about it. They're very well respected. Artblocks as an umbrella. Obviously, not all Artblocks projects are created equal. You'll get some that sell out like this one did, and the floor price can be 4 or 5 ETH, and you'll get others that struggle to sell out, and the floor price might be under 0.1. So, you got to be careful. You can't just see Artblocks and say, okay, great, it's an Artblocks project, and just blindly mint it. It does really just depend on how the market feels on the time. So this one from today has done really, really well. You can have a look over here. They're saying 25% of the profits will be donated to an organization that supports women and non-binary technologists. And here you can see some of the art, which we can see on OpenSea because it was immediately revealed. One thing about this is the commercial rights are not complete. You don't have full commercial rights, so you're able to share the image. If you own the NFT, you're able to copy and redistribute it in any medium or forum, but under the following conditions. You have to give credit. So you have to say that, this is from Art Blocks. You do not have commercial rights on this NFT, so you cannot use one of these NFTs as the logo for your new business. So you can't profit off the NFT. So you don't have commercial rights of this, and you cannot make any derivatives of it. So you can't edit the image in any way. So that's just always something that I like to look at, and I think is important. Important to know about this collection, right? This one that we're talking about here. So yeah, very interesting collection, guys. And really done really, really well. And I'm looking forward to see what happens from here as far as the floor price goes. I mean, if we just refresh it one more time, let's see, jump to. So it's still at that 4.15. And then if you jump onto here, all of this is available through the Art Blocks website. It's really quite cool. It takes you through all the different attributes, and it gives you a bit of a background on Lucia Hay, which we'll look at her Twitter shortly. And it says here, Running Moon is a long-form generative art program by Lucia Hay. It will be launched as a series, which it has been. But what I liked looking at here, so it's got three major elements, and this just gives you a good idea of the collection. So you've got expansion, segment, lines, and texture. And then it gives you sample outputs of what those would look like. And then you've also got your expansion shapes. And then it shows you what those will look like as well. Obviously, more are going to become there will be some that are more sought after than others. And that's obvious to gauge by looking at what is selling above mint price. And what does, like this one, for example, that sold at 7, let's open it. And this one that sold at 7, let's open it and see if there's any similarities that we can see what traits are more sought after than others. And it's always good to get to know if you like want to invest in a project, and also if you want to maybe get to know a project really well to pick up rares and flip and things. It is important to see what's selling well. And you can see both of these has got that same round generation as the other. If we go to traits here, let's just see what's in common between them. So we say here, light mode, shimmering versus bright, disappearing, pencil, roller, New York, and velvet. So I think the rare thing here must be New York, because only 1% have the New York trait. Yeah, so look, very interesting project. Here's the artist's Twitter. Been on Twitter since 2016, has 2,627 followers. So yeah, guys, I really wanted to bring that you one that just minted. All right, now something a little bit controversial, right? The Saudis. So let's just tell you about this project, and then I'll tell you whether I'm interested in it or not. Okay, let's start off by just looking at the OpenSea volume, floor price. So having a look here, it's 5 days old. It's done 7,400 ETH in volume, which is incredible in any market, more so in this current bear market. Current floor price is 0.87. This was a free mint. Okay, so that's almost 100x, and it has gone as high as 1.5 ETH. This to me reminds me of Habibis, which is a sort of OG alpha project with similar art and a very notable founder and builder in the space. So it seems to be a derivative project on that. But what they have done well is they've really built a narrative on their Twitter. And they really have been able to sort of build a story around it and keep consistent with this Saudi theme, right? And we'll have a look at that now. I just want to show you activity so you can see, and you can see here, went out average sale there of 1.2. I did see them as high as 1.5 for a very brief moment. On the day of launch, 4,100 sales. Day after 1,600, day after 600, day after 345. And today so far, with a few hours left, you're looking at 229. So incredible volume going on here. if we jump onto the website, and remember, this is a fully anonymous team, no roadmap whatsoever. So they say we're not just buying Bitcoin, we're buying the punks. Salah, we will take over. Saudi delegation welcomes you to the royal kingdom. We've consulted with the finest kings and princes and sheikhs among the ranks of crypto Twitter and decided to act with haste. Now it's time to move. Our treasuries are filled to the brim with oil royalties, and we must save the crypto market. So they've got this whole sort of story going on. Reminds me a little bit of Goblin Towns, just from that perspective. I will tell you my actual thoughts on it, whether I'm going to be buying it or not. Obviously, not financial advice, but they're definitely taking from their playbook for sure. And if we jump down here, they're saying that they're going to be investing in Cryptopunks, Bitcoin, and oil barrels. Okay, they do not own 541,000 Bitcoin. I can assure you that. So they are sort of poking fun as well. Maybe there's some truth to it if they do have any long-term plans for this project, that they might, be hinting at the fact that they might buy a CryptoPunk, but some Bitcoin and some oil. But again, with projects like this, it's hard to know what's serious and what's not, and what's just for the narrative and what's not. It is the number one trending project on OpenSea for this week. As we saw, it has quietened down a bit, but it's really a meme-based project, right? You can see here 5,555, apparently 114,000 followers. Whether that is accurate or not, or botted, is hard to say. And you can have a look here. They're very active on their Twitter. They're keeping on theme with their Saudi narrative. Yeah, so again, reminds me of Goblins from this perspective. They've built the story. This is what they're doing, and they're keeping consistent to that, right? Will I be buying one of these? No. The answer is no. I'm not really interested when there isn't much initiative or, something unique about it, right? So it's a derivative of an existing project. They're using the sort of roadmap of goblins, meaning like the way that they've done it: CCO, free mint, only Twitter, no Discord, keep to the narrative, right? So, I think that this, do I believe this could ever get to 2.5, 3, 4 ETH floor like Goblins has? I actually do not, to be very, very honest. And it's not one for me. If I had a free mint, a whitelist to mint it, would I have minted it 100%? I would have seen the volume, and I would have definitely minted it and flipped it at the 1 ETH when it got there. Okay, I would have flipped it at whatever the floor price was as I minted it. So to mint a free project like this is great. Obviously, always use a burner wallet. Be careful what you connect to. We know all the risks with that, but there's very little risk in a free mint. You paying gas, which these days is so low, and you've got a huge upside of it going to 1.5 ETH, like we did see with this one. Buying it on the secondary market once it's already pumped is a different story. There is a huge risk there. And unless you know more about the project, the founders, their goals, they're saying here, there's no roadmap. We owe you nothing. You didn't pay for these. And to be honest, they could rug tomorrow with a clear conscience, because they haven't promised anyone anything, and they never even charged you for the NFT. So if you end up buying it on the secondary market, so be it. But in the end of the day, not a project for me. I just want to correct one thing. They do have a Discord, an open Discord, and it's crazy in there. So when I said no Discord, that's wrong. But definitely no roadmap, and definitely anonymous founders. But I do like the Twitter engagement, and they definitely did really well to create hype. And it's really difficult to get a free mint from 0 to 1 ETH, and you got to give credit where credit is due, but not one for me. So yeah, that covers the Saudis. So, going from one extreme to another, we're now going to talk about the Doodles Genesis box. This was about a week and a half ago. And I wanted to discuss it. Like, there's pros and cons here. And then at the end, I'm also going to tell you whether it's something that I would be looking to pick up or not. Remember, I do own a Doodle, a Genesis Doodle, and I'll give you my view on it from there. So, this was a collection, or is a collection, of 24,000 NFTs. So first of all, that's a little bit of a concern for me. It's a very large collection size. On top of that, if we look at the unique owners, that's very, very low. You're looking under 25% here. 5,600 owners of a 24,000 collection. It's around 21%, give or take a little bit. Um, Volume is surprisingly low for a Doodles related collection. I mean, they've been around now, it says here 2 weeks, since the 29th of June, and they've only got 1,000 ETH volume traded. And I'll tell you why I think that is. I think that the use case of these is too vague. Doodles has been very vague about this. We know that you're going to be able to use these as accessories for your Doodle 2. We don't yet know how you get a Doodle 2. We don't even know if the duplicator that was released before this gets you a Doodle 2. We know that the duplicator can allow you to duplicate traits from your Genesis Doodle onto your Doodle 2, but they haven't told us yet how you get a Doodle 2. So you definitely don't get the actual Doodle 2 from this Genesis box, and you definitely don't get the actual Doodle 2 from the duplicator, which is why we've seen that floor price gradually going down. They're now at about 1.8, whereas at their height, they were 5 or 6 Ethereum. I also think that they have made it very clear that they want to target the mass market here. And by mass market, they mean hundreds of thousands of people. They want Doodles 2 to be a collection for the Web 2 community, which is great and very, uh, inspiring, and have high aspirations, or it's great. But in the end of the day, we've seen it with other collections like Crypto Kitties, which is a very OG collection, but they've got hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of NFTs, and the floor price can never get above 0.001 because there's just too much supply. And I do think that it's going to be interesting to see how they counter that, and if they counter that. So on my side, will I be buying or looking to pick up a Genesis box? Quite honestly, at any price, absolutely not. At any price. I mean, maybe at 0.01, but I don't need a box of accessories for a thing that I don't know how I'm going to mint, and what's going to happen. And even if I did know how I was going to get my Doodle 2, I'm quite happy with a floor Doodle. I don't need to speculate on what's inside of here. Again, I'm not happy with the collection size. The unique owners is not great. The positives of this, and the way that they did this, was that they really did the Dutch auction that they did incredibly well, and like, just contrasting it with other side, and how poorly they handled that, and everyone knows about that. I'm not going to get into it. It just really highlighted how amazing this Doodle team is and how they think outside the box. And what they basically did was they had a 24-hour auction where you could say, okay, I'm willing to commit half an Ethereum to buy these Genesis boxes. If it ends up that the mint price is 0.52 Ethereum, then they would have refunded me my half a ETH. If the mint price was settled at zero point 0.1 Ethereum, I would have gotten 5 Doodles, right? Doodle Genesis boxes. And that really was an incredible way to do it, because there was absolutely no gas war. And, people came in, and I think, if I was interested in it, I would have waited for the very last second to place my bid to know what the floor price was. So they were showing you, and it's a pity I can't see it anymore on the website, but they were showing you on the website based on current bids what the current floor price is. So I would have waited for the very last second. At half a ETH, I would have been quite hesitant. But at point one, before giving it too much thought, I might have pulled the trigger. But they really did handle that incredibly well. And you've got to give credit where credit due. And this Doodles has consistently thought outside of the box. They were the first that allowed you to move your doodle into a spaceship or anything, a wrapper that couldn't be separated from the NFT. So if you sold the spaceship, you sold the doodle. We've seen that replicated by other projects. And flattery is the greatest form of compliment, or whatever they say. Or no, what do they say? Copying is the greatest form of flattery, right? So they always thinking out the box. Their team is incredible. They've got Pharrell on board. They've got this billboard guy, which I think has got pros and cons. But we saw the pro in that they got Pharrell Williams to be a brand ambassador and proper work on the project. So there's going to be music related to Doodles too. And the con might be that this guy is trying to take NFTs to mainstream Web 2, which might not be possible. If he achieves it, it would be absolutely incredible and is exactly what we all want and need. So very interesting, but yeah, not one for me, but one that definitely had to be mentioned on today's show. The next project, God Hates NFTs. So for any of you who didn't see, at NFT New York, we had Bobby Hundreds from Atom Bomb Squad. He did a stunt where they had guys protesting. I actually had it here. I'm sure I can find it. They had guys pretend protesting at NFT New York, saying God hates NFTs. Most people, including me in the very beginning, thought it was a real protest because it looked like a real protest. And then, a little bit after, we learned that it wasn't, and it was all a marketing thing, because one of the guys held up Atom Bomb Squad as the thing, and it came out that it was just a marketing stunt, right? Which was brilliant. It got everyone talking, and definitely was very, very good. So this particular project's got really nothing to do with that, but it obviously and clearly was inspired by that. So that just tells you, with NFT New York was about 3 weeks ago. If that these guys were able to put through their collection within that amount of time. But the reason we got to look at it is because in 2 weeks they've done 3,700 volume in a bear market, which is great and really, really impressive. It's a 5,000 collection. It's actually 5,022, just under 50% owner ratio, which is not bad. I mean, it could be considered good. Anything over 55%, I would say, is very good. Anything over 65% is excellent. So they've got a good owner ratio, and the floor price has held nicely, considering that it's 2 weeks old now. And you've got to give credit where credit is due. Now, this is a fully anonymous team. It is CCO, so you own the rights to it. There's no roadmap, but on their Twitter, they did, since they've been doing quite nicely, they did put a bit of a roadmap over there. But as is the risk with all of these free mints, with no roadmap and no promises, again, they've promised you nothing. You've paid nothing for it if you minted it, and they should have no guilty conscience about walking away. I think that when you see a project do so well and the secondary is doing so well, then it makes sense to invest in it and build around it. But again, they are always there on the premise that they owe no one nothing. They've promised no one anything. And so that for me is always something that I'm scared of. So it's not a project that I would want to invest in on the secondary. Again, I would have minted it if it was free and I saw it flying like that. Does look like a bit of a fun project. On their website over here, you don't know what's real and what's not. They're saying that the current CCO is a childhood friend, Robert. He's 64 and lives at home with his mom. The CTO is a Bolivian that I met through a YouTube tutorial video that has 180 views. And the CMO is an ex-drug dealer from our neighborhood who's now clairvoyanting 85-year-old woman on television. So I don't think that any of this has any truth to it. It puts a smile on your face. What I did like about this website, and I know it's not that complicated, but you can actually play a game here on the website. So let's see. I mean, I've got so many Ys and things around me, but let's just see. All right, so we're going here. Then you got to jump over stuff. Okay, no, no way. I got to give it one more chance, guys. That's ridiculous. Okay, let's use my right hand. Hold on. Okay, boom, 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 boom. So they've put a bit more time into it than they had to, which is a bit nice. But I'm always skeptical if I don't know the team. And that that burnt me when it came to goblins because I didn't invest early because I thought it was too risky and there's not enough. Okay, I'm going to stop, guys. And there wasn't enough information, and it ended up being a great team, and a great project, and so I lost out on that one. But I do think it's important to make it very, very clear that goblins is the exception rather than the rule. They also started this meta of free mint, CCO, not promising you anything, anonymous team, right? And they thought that out very, very well. Whereas all these sort of, I don't want to call them copycats because the idea is completely different to goblins, but the CCO, free mint, no promises, no nothing, no roadmap, anonymous team, that is them saying, hold on, goblins got to a 4 ETH floor. So can we, if we just, up our game on Twitter, and make a few memes. I mean, I do like stuff like this. That shows that they do have artists on board working. And yeah, could I be wrong? And could this end up being a goblin? I don't think so, but yes, I could be wrong, and it could end up being a goblin. Am I willing to take a 1 Ethereum risk and on that? No, because I do think 99 out of 100 of these are going to end up fizzling out within a couple of weeks and going to zero. But this one definitely has stood out for me a little bit. And really, I mean, you'd have to be a real gambler, in my opinion, to invest in this right now. Obviously, not financial advice, but credit where credit due. I mean, they're sitting at a 1 ETH floor 2 weeks after launch, and have done close to 4,000 Ethereum in volume, in a bear market, which is great. All right, guys. So then one that is affordable, and has had FUD, but is not the same as these free mint ones, is chubby little Jiras. Okay, so you can see here the floor price is 0.03. The volume traded is only 283 ETH, which is not nothing, but compared to what we've looked at, is quite low. Collection size 8,900, which is quite large. Owner distribution is good, 42%. It's just under 4,200 owners, just under about 48%. So it's good, not great, but good. And if we have a look over here, they haven't yet revealed, which we want to wait for. But the bullish, let's just look at activity just to show you. So you can see here, they went as high as 0.08. And really the volume has completely trickled out. Okay, so the thing that's bullish with this is that they were taken as part of the Gojira ecosystem. They were taken under Gojira's wing. And they did have a problem when they minted. About 25% of the funds were stolen. They were able to recover 75%, or to safeguard 75%, by sending them to Gojira's wallet, who safe kept them for them. But that relationship with Gojira is quite a bullish thing, and something to keep in mind. The other part of the agreement is, of the 500 ETH that they made from mint by selling out, 300 Ethereum of that has to go to Gojira to sweep the floor. So this team will sweep the floor, the Gojira floor. Something that I thought was great is that instead of them just buying 200 Gojiras, which are about 2 ETH each, they said no, they've chosen to do it slowly so that they can get them at the cheapest price for their community, right? Because obviously they're going to own the Gojiras, and that will be in the wallet. I would imagine that they can't sell them or flip them for a certain amount of time. But I thought that was quite bullish. That they said, okay, look, we're really going to look after our holders over here. We're not going to buy 200 at once, push the floor to 4 ETH and end up paying on average 3 ETH, will buy 5 or 10, and they show the transaction of them buying 10, and every week when appropriate will buy a few more. If we have a look here, that as you can see, an officially approved Gojira project. Gojira is very well respected in the space. Chubby Little Jira's core mission is to develop, build upon, and integrate with a already well-established foundation of Project Gojira, which arguably one of the most successful NFT projects in the Web3 space. At the moment, Project Gojira has approximately 2,500 holders. However, because the Discord is closed, we believe that this may serve as a limiting factor for their further expansion. One of the fundamental objectives is to allow newcomers to gain exposure to this exceptional project at a more affordable entry point, while ensuring that both projects enjoy the benefits and rewards that Gojira has to offer, with additional goal of continuing to expand and advance the ecosystem. So I think that's great, because if you wanted to buy a Gojira, you would have to pay 2 Ethereum. And here you are getting a level of that alpha for 0.003 by buying this project. The team is doxed and has fully doxed himself to the Gojira team. So is this one that I'm looking at buying? 100% yes. Could it go to zero? Yes. They have had their problems that obviously every project can go to zero, but they have had their problems. 25% of their funds have been stolen. They're still using 300. They haven't deducted what was stolen from the 300 that they're going to use to sweep it. But I think being under Gojira's wing is a big thing. And I think even if that alone isn't good, to have access to some of Gojira's alpha for 0.03 Ethereum and joining the Chubby Jira's Discord is very, very bullish. And at 0.003, I really think that it's one that's worth betting on, in my personal opinion. I do happen to hold a lot of great alpha passes, and I'm involved in quite a few closed alpha discords for guys with YouTube channels and things like that. So there's not really any alpha that I'm not getting. But quite honestly, it would be a no-brainer if I didn't have alpha passes to spend on this. Obviously not for a flip, but for the utility that it offers. And I hope that this project gets recognized, because currently it hasn't. It's under the radar. I hope it gets recognized. Obviously, there's not a paid shield. I do not own any, but I really do think that you get great utility. And at this price, I think it's a great project to look at and to look further in. And then a project that we haven't spoken about properly on the show, and that has really been breaking all the charts, is the ENS domains. Okay. And those are really important to touch on, and they're quite complicated. So I want to take you through it. I want you to understand it, so that when you see this happening, you can make an educated guess. It's very confusing. They're in the top 10. They have been for the last month. You jump on here and using what we usually use, you think, what the hell is going on? 1.5 million items, 400,000 owners, so about 33% owner ratio. Total volume is massive, 45,000 Ethereum traded. They are 3 years old and have recently completely blown up, which is incredible to think of. Floor price is tiny. How am I going to flip it? So very, very confusing. You can see in this week alone, they've done 2,000 Ethereum in volume. All right, so basically on the very, very basic level, an ENS name is almost like your email address for Web3. That's the easiest way that I can explain it to you. So you will get a name .eth at the end, and that name can be anything that's available. It can be your wallet address. It can be, if your name's not taken, you can still go onto their website and see if you can mint it. Let's say I wanted to mint philipkalinko.eth. I could go and have a look if it's available, and if not, mint it. But the ones that are really flying at the moment, being sold on the secondary for these crazy prices, are the digits are the most popular. So they go from 000, and then it goes 001 all the way to 999 are considered the 3 digits, and then it goes from 1,000 to 9,999 are considered the 4 digits. And that's really where we're seeing the highest sales, is in the 3-digit and the 4-digit ENSs on the secondary. So I know that there was a sale. I just want to get the correct price here. 000.eth was sold for 300 Ethereum, which is just insane. And the floor price for any 3 digit, the floor price, the cheapest one, is sitting at about 30 Ethereum at the moment. So the 4 digit ones is now a floor price. The cheapest you can get of a 4 digit is about 2 Ethereum. So they really, really have done really well there. And again, it gives you this unique identifying thing. This could be your wallet address. You could customize your wallet address to be this. And it can be a way of authenticating you forevermore in Web3. So that's really where it is. So would I be interested in, Philip Kalinko or the NFT show.eth to mint it? Yes, I would, because it's a fair price and there's value in it. Would I be interested in buying off the secondary, trying to flip for someone who just happens to maybe want Thailand.eth or, BAYC address.eth? No. I think it's really, really difficult to choose the names that one guy is going to really want and be, wanting and willing to pay, 20, 30 ETH or even 1 or 2 ETH for. If you do happen to see, this one was stolen here. That's why there's an exclamation mark. If you do happen to see a 3 digit like this, like 361.eth for 0.089, I would grab it up because you can't get those. Any 3 digit ones are like 30 ETH as a floor price. But other than that, to be sitting there, it's almost like in the beginning of websites, there were guys who registered 500 domains. Now, if you were early enough and you could get apple.com, Microsoft.com, Nike.com, if you were really early and thinking like that, sure, you did well and you should have done it. I believe in this ENS, we've missed that boat of being able to think of ones that may be sought after sometime in the future and command a very, very high price. So that's obviously not financial advice, but that's my own thinking of it. And I hope that gives you guys a better understanding of what's going on when you're seeing this ENS. You're seeing it pumping, but the floor price is tiny, but you're hearing of these sales like going for 300 Ethereum. That hopefully gives you a bit of a better idea. So yeah, that pretty much covers it. I see there was a question here from Naeem. I hope he's still in the chat. That project that I was talking about in the very beginning was Running Moon, the Art Blocks project that minted today for 3 ETH and is currently sitting at, let's just refresh, but over 4 ETH. Running Moon by Lycia Hay. You can see it over here. Make sure that it's got the blue tick there and the blue tick over there. And obviously, just to make sure you get the right collection, make sure the floor price is about 4 ETH, volume traded 1,200. So I'm sure there's some spam collections out there. But this was the one that was minted today and sold out very quickly and is now pumping. Again, I would let the dust settle and see where this is at in a couple of weeks' time. Yes, it might go to 7, and you'll be saying, Philip, why did you say that? But it also may settle at 2, and it may, eventually fizzle out. It's very, very hard to know. But art is definitely pumping at the moment, and it's up to you what you do. But too rich for my blood at 4.5 Ethereum. But again, in 3-4 hours to do 1,200 ETH in volume is really impressive. Let's jump onto IC Tools quickly and just see if it's slowing down, because it does look to me just by looking there that it was slowing down. Let's see if we can see it here in the charts. Let's move it to a 30-minute and just have a look. It should come up there somewhere. Don't know if it would be under art blocks if that's what is coming up. Otherwise, I'll search for it. But if I can find it this way, then I know it's the same one. Okay, let's just search for it. Running Moon. And let's see. Because it does seem like it's slowing down just by looking at that activity here. Running Moon. This is the right one. No, because it's got 0 volume and 0 activity. And so you can see there's already like spam collections. Just want to try and refresh. And I'll look on the 1 hour chart or 2 hour chart and see if I can see it. Seems like RC Tools is ragging me. It's not giving me the option. There we go. Okay, let's go to 12 hours and just see here. It must be this art blocks one, which is a bit of a pity because we're not able to really break it down. We're going to see the whole art blocks ecosystem, which is going to really skew the results that we want to look at. Just double checking on the 1 hour now, which we haven't checked on, and I'm not seeing it. Hey guys, so yeah, it must be this one over here on art blocks. And again, I mean, you're not going to get any idea because there's some art blocks projects selling for 9 ETH. Very hard to see. But if we just jump onto OpenSea and do it the old school way, before there were any of these tools. So you can see here there was a sale 8 minutes ago, 22, 23, 24. So that's definitely slowed down. I mean, here you had a sale every minute, right? And here you've had 14 minutes from this sale to this sale and 7 minutes with no sale at all. So it's definitely starting to slow down for sure, right? Yeah, so that's why I would always, I like the hype to like die down. If I haven't been able to mint and I'm looking to enter something, I like the hype to die down, let the dust settle, and then have a look at it. Because you can see how many sales were 2 hours ago. Look how many sales 3 hours ago, so many sales. This is when it minted. But then when we go to the last hour, that's really, really slowed down. And another thing that you can do, again, RC Tools makes this very easy, or NFT nerds, but we can't see it that way. If you go to listings, you can see that there's more people listing than there are sales in the last hour, which typically means that the floor price is going to start going down. With that said, a lot of these listings are well above floor. So yeah, again, without a tool actually checking the floor listings versus the floor sales, it is quite difficult to gauge from this. Yeah, so that was the one, Naeem. Hope that helped, my man. I'm happy you're still here. What's up with Beings NFT? I don't know. I think, did they launch and then they didn't sell out? And did they say they're going to do a free mint? Is that the one? I know it's coming up. Yeah, I think it's upcoming, if I'm not mistaken. I think also Operation Sin. I don't think that they're also upcoming. A lot of these. I think Beings is minting soon. I stand to be corrected, but I think Beings is minting soon. Operation Sin, I haven't heard of a mint date. I do think what's happening here, and I'm on the fence with it now. I was of the firm view that it's a silly time to mint. However, with that said, like, it does seem we're going to be in an extended bear market now for quite a while. And so I think if you're willing to put in the extra work and really build real connections in communities and teach them about your project, maybe there's merit to minting anyway and just going ahead with it. But those are few and far between. Those are really excellent projects. I do think that Operation Sin is an excellent project. When I reviewed it, I haven't looked into it since. So we are seeing a lot of these collections are holding back on minting at the moment. We even see existing collections that are holding back on announcements because they feel like they're not going to get the pumps that they usually would in this environment. So yeah, very, very interesting to see. But I do think that's what's happening with most projects that we covered on a pre-mint review, haven't yet minted. They're probably just holding back and waiting for the market to sort of settle. Even if the macro stuff doesn't get better, just to have some sort of maybe more volume on OpenSea. But I've had whitelists for, like, I'm just thinking I want to give you accurate. Always when I'm live, I want to make sure whatever I say is as accurate as possible. I had 2 whitelists today that ended up only having 100 or 200 minted, both of them saying that they're returning tomorrow or within the next week, and they're going to do a free mint. The day before, we saw Timeline Transit did the same thing, and that free mint was messed up, completely botted. No one was able to mint, not a single human being. It was fully botted. They said they were going to redo it, and then they said they can't because 2,500 people bought on the secondary, and we saw the floor price go from 0.1 to 0.01 when people felt cheated by the fact that they couldn't mint. And there's numerous others that have tried to mint, come back and said, no, we're changing it to a free mint. We saw it with XOXO and a whole lot of others. So I think to avoid that, these projects like Operation Sin are maybe binding their time, using this time to, really get everything better, get the name out there more, and then they will mint. Yeah, difficult times to drop a project for sure. All right, guys, that brings an end to the show. Naeem, one more question. Can you tell, bro, if I knew, I would be retired by now. I don't know for sure. I am going to do a show on Monday on upcoming projects that I'm excited about. Let me stop sharing my screen for a second. I'll have a look if there's anything that I have on my, there we go, that I have on my calendar that is coming up soon that I'm excited for. But I'll be honest, I was really excited for Timeline Transit, and nothing happened over there, and then it went to hell. So it's very hard to tell. See, there was a free mint that I missed because I was preparing for the show at 9 o'clock today. Mallow, never heard of it. There's that Goda drop tomorrow that I'm quite interested in. That drop today that we saw in the charts, where it's 0.9 and the mint price is 0.5. That Nina one under the Goda, it's in the top 15 charts, so that's happening tomorrow. Haven't heard of any of these pre-mint ones that I've got here. Just want to see what else there is here. No, nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. No, so I think anything that I covered. So if you have a look under our YouTube profile, and then have a look at upcoming projects, the playlist upcoming, any of those, and a lot of those haven't minted yet. I was quite bullish on enough to bring them to you guys. Also, this coming Monday, I've got a handful of really great projects that I'm bringing you. Andrew Wang is going to be dropping one, which is hugely bullish, and I think is going to do incredibly well. But let's keep that for Monday. So tune in Monday, same time, same place. Otherwise, Friday, Kate and I will be here. Thank you, guys, for your time. Thank you for joining me. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter for the quickest and latest alpha with notifications on, and join our Discord. Keep well. See you.